I'm Mashi.
I'm Sharifah.
And we're going to talk about
Phylum Arthropoda.
Hello, I'm Putra Adriana and I'm going to talk about phylum Mollusks.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Farhan Zikri,
And my name is Wan Ahmad Luqman.
and today we are going to talk about phylum.
Echinodermata.
Hello everyone, we are from Group 4 and we're going to talk about
Animalia.
To present is phylum Arthropoda. There are a few things that you need to know about this type of arthropods. One of them is that they are triploblastic, coelomate, and bilaterally symmetrical. Next up, they also exhibit metametric segmentation. Next, their body is also covered by chitinous exoskeleton. They also have appendages and complete digestive tract with specialized mouth parts. Last but not least, their growth is also accompanied by ecdysis. There are 6 unique characteristics of arthropods. First off, we have segmentation or metamerism. Second up, we have exoskeleton. Third, we have paired and jointed appendages. And the fourth point is the well-developed sense organs. Next up, we have variety of respiratory organs. And last but not least is the metamorphosis. As characteristics of arthropods, we have segmentation or metamerism. They have many segments. First of all, each segment equals to a pair of appendages. Segments are not internally divided by septa, which means the organ systems are not metamerically arranged. The segments also fuse together into body regions, which is called stigmata, which means head, thorax, and abdomen. Next up, the exoskeleton, which is composed of protein and chitin. Chitin is hard to protect animal and provide attachment for muscles and prevent desiccation. Exoskeleton is non-living and non-expanding, which means it requires molting through a process called ecdysis for an animal to grow. For the third characteristic, it is paired and jointed appendages. The function of this is for locomotion of the specific arthropods. This allows survival and adaptation for the arthropods. It is specialized for walking, swimming, reproduce, feeding, defense, and sensory reception. The fourth characteristic, it is well-developed sense organs, which also means well-developed nervous system, which is brain and ventral solid nerve cord. Most organs are located at the anterior end of animal, which is the extensive cephalization. The head has various sense organs, and which is 2 types of eyes, which is simple and compound eyes. For the fifth characteristics of arthropods, it is variety of respiratory organs. This is caused by the evolution of many specialized organs for gaseous exchange. Which, for example, most aquatic species have gills and most terrestrial species have trachea. For the last characteristic of arthropods, it is metamorphosis. It is a drastic physiology changes from immature larva to adult. Larvae eat different foods and live in a different environment from adult. This is because it can reduce competition and allow massive number of species at once. There are few classes of arthropods, for example, crustacean, Chilopoloda, Diplopoda, Insecta, Arachnida, and Merostomata. For class Crustacea, the most abundant and familiar crustacea are decapods. Some examples of decapods are shrimp, lobsters, crayfish, and crabs. Their main body region are cephalothorax and abdomen. Cephalothorax are covered by carapace, which is hard shells. Swimmerets can be found at abdominal segments. Their respiratory system are usually gills. Class Chilopoda, the most common thing in it is centipede. It is also ventrally flattened, which makes it a fast-moving predator. The body regions are divided into 2, which is the head and trunk. The head consists of a pair of antennae and a pair of simple eyes. The trunk consists of many body segments, and each segment have one pair of walking legs. Last legs extend backwards behind the body.
The next class in phylum Arthropoda is class Diplopoda, or commonly known as millipedes. Let's take a look at the characteristic of millipedes. The first characteristic is the body structure. Millipedes have a cylindrical body that is divided into many segments, typically range from 30 up to over 400 segments depending on the species. Then, each segment has two pairs of legs, which is a distinguishing feature from centripedes that only has one pair of legs per segment. The next characteristic of millipedes is habitat. Millipedes is commonly found in moist environment such as leaf litter, soil, and also decaying woods. Next, for their diet. Most millipedes are detritivores, which are organisms that feed on detritus. Detritus is a decomposing organic matter such as dead plants and fallen leaf. Furthermore, defense mechanism. Many millipedes have developed chemical defenses such as the ability to secrete toxic or repugnant substances to deter predator. Other than that, some also produce a defensive fluid that cause irritation to the skin of potential threats. The next class is Insecta, or commonly known as insects. It is the largest and most diverse group of animal on Earth. The first characteristic of insects is the body structure. Insects are divided into three parts of body structure, which is head, thorax, and abdomen. Head contains sensory organs, which is antenna, the compound eyes, and mouth parts. Next, thorax typically has three segments, which is prothorax, mesothorax, and metathorax. The last part is abdomen, which contains digestive and reproductive organs. In addition, exoskeleton. Insects have a hard outer covering that made of chitin. Chitin is very important to provide protection and support for insects. Other than that, insects also undergo metamorphosis, which can be either complete metamorphosis or incomplete metamorphosis. A complete metamorphosis is called holometabolis, while incomplete metamorphosis called hemimetabolis. A complete metamorphosis consists of 4 life stages, which is egg, larva, pupa, and adult. Then, an incomplete metamorphosis involves 3 stages, which are egg, nymph, and adult. The next characteristic is respiration. Insects breathe through a system of trachea, which are small tubes that deliver oxygen directly to tissue. It is because insects does not have lungs. Furthermore, class Arachnida. Class Arachnida is a diverse group of arthropods that include spider, scorpion, ticks, and mite. The first characteristic, which is the body structure. Arachnida consists of 2 main body segments, which is cephalothorax and abdomen. Cephalothorax is a combination of head and thorax. Next, for their appendages. They typically have 8 legs, but they may have some additional appendages such as pedipalps, which are often used for sensing or manipulating prey. Next, for exoskeleton. They are same like other arthropods, which have a hard exoskeleton that made of chitin. The last class in phylum Arthropoda is class Merostomata. It is a group of marine arthropods such as horseshoe crab. For the characteristic, the body structure of Merostomata consists of 2 main body parts, which are a cephalothorax or prosoma and also an abdomen, which are called ophistosoma. The cephalothorax is covered by a hard carapace. Next, for their appendages, They possess 5 pairs of working legs and a long spiked tail called telson that used for steering and righting themselves. The next characteristic is habitat. Merostomata are primarily found in shallow coastal water and estuaries. They also often burrowing themselves into the sand or mud. And lastly, for their diets, Merostomata are primarily detritivores or scavengers. They feed small invertebrates or organic matter on the ocean floor.
Hi, so I'm going to talk about phylum mollusks. So there are three main classes of phylum mollusks, which is Bivalvia, Gastropoda, and Cephalopoda. So what are phylum mollusca? Phylum mollusk is a phylum of protostomid invertebrate animals. Alright, so there are around 76,000 extant species of mollusks are being recognized. So let's find out about the characteristic of phylum mollusks.
Alright, so first, let's talk about shell of mollusks. So squid shell reduce in size and internalize. Squid have no shell on the outside of their bodies, but they have a shell inside their bodies called a pen. The pen or gladius of the squid is an internalized shell. It serves as a site of attachment for important muscle groups and as a protective barrier for the visceral organs. Octopus have no shell at all, not even an inner one. The advantage is an octopus can squeeze into very small spaces. In many octopuses, the hard structure is completely lost. Only the chambered nautiluses have an external shell. Barbour shell is the enveloping exoskeleton that are composed of two hinged valves that are joined by a ligament and usually articulate with one another using structure known as tin, which are situated along the hinge line.
Alright, next let's talk about slugs. Slug's shell is internal. In most species, the shell forms on the back of the slug's head known as the mantle. So the advantages is they can hide in small space that protects them from predators. And second, they can escape harsh weather by burrowing into the ground.
Let's talk about head foot. So the foot is muscular. It used for a variety of purposes, namely locomotion, capturing prey for food, and attachment to the substratum. So the head foot region contains the sensory and motor organs. Next, visceral mass contains the internal organs, namely the organs of digestive, excretory, and reproductive system. Next, mantle. The mantle is a special tissue that surrounds the visceral mass but does not cover it completely and protect major internal organs. Second, the mantle cavity is the space between mantle and the visceral mass. Third, the gills are located here and the digestive, excretory, and reproductive organs discharge their contents into this cavity. Fourth, it also secretes the shell and contributes to the development of breathing organs. Next, tube-tongue radula. Radula is a feature that is seen only in mollusks. The main function is it helps in scraping and scratching the food before it enters the esophagus. So the structure range from simple tongue-like one to scrape agar off the rocks to complex harpoon-like ones seen in the conch snail that eject chemicals capable of killing humans. Next, coelomate animals. Coelomates are organisms possessing a column. This cavity is lined with mesenchymal tissue and it plays a crucial role in providing space for organ development and mobility. Next, a complete digestive tract. First, most mollusks have tentacles for feeding and sensing, and many have a muscular foot. Second, they have open circulatory system except cephalopods. Third, mollusks also have a coelom, a complete digestive system, and specialized organs for excretion. Fourth, they have complex nervous system that varies across species.
So let's look up for more details for each of the classes.
Class Gastropoda.
So gastropod is the largest group of mollusks. It consists of snails, slugs, limpets, and moors. It comprises of over 70,000 species. And gastropod are mainly found in marine areas, freshwater, or on land.
So next, let's talk about gastropod feeding strategies. So they are using their radulus to scrape algae off the rocks or boring holes in bivalves like clams and oysters. Gills in most marine gastropod, one or two gills situated in the mantle cavity, are used for respiration. Some develop secondary gills after the loss of their gills in previous evolution. Because the gills are housed inside the shell, it is difficult to view them while they are functioning. Cilia on the surface provide the pump that moves water through the mantle cavity and enhance diffusion. Class Cephalopoda.
Let's talk about cephalopod head foot. So the name cephalopod in Greek means head foot. This name was applied because the foot of the organism surround the head. It grows directly from the head. But cephalopod lack of traditional foot. Instead, they are having 8 to 10 tentacles attached to their head.
Octopuses are generally considered to be more intelligent due to their larger brains, more complex nervous system, and octopuses are also known for their problem-solving skills and ability to use tools. Next, their nervous system is the most complex among invertebrates. It can detect gravity with statocytes, can feel using arm tentacles and receptors, it can taste, smell using sense organs, and ink is expelled by an insect to confuse predators and mucus generates a thick cloud. A cephalopod's foot is modified into arms, funnel, and tentacles. Next, mantle surrounds the visceral side. The bag-like side that sits above a cephalopod's eyes doesn't contain the brain. It hosts the animal's internal organs, including hearts, gills, reproductive organs, insect, and more. This possesses strong muscle for contraction of the cavity and respiration. So how cephalopod eat? At the center of all the limbs is a bird-like beak used for pressing and consuming food. It features a tongue-like pearl of teeth called the radula. It used to wrap food items and break them into small pieces. First, they hunt using tentacles or arms, drawing it into their sharp beak and ripping off chunks. Second, they also excrete digestive juices from their salivary glands. Third, suckers in some squids transform into sharp hooks to better grab their prey. Meanwhile, octopus have robust sucker ring teeth. Blood fluid, dark color or luminous ink released into water by most species, usually as an escape mechanism. All cephalopods, with the exception of Nautilidae and Sirena, are able to release ink to confuse predators or when they are excited. Next is locomotion. The mantle, which has a passive role in the majority of mollusks, has become involved in locomotion in cephalopods. Cephalopods, having almost entirely lost its rigid shell and become highly muscular. Cephalopods move by crawling, swimming, or jet propulsion, mainly the latter. Alright, so let's talk about shell again. So only chamber nautilus has an external shell. It related to squids and octopuses, but are easily differentiated by their distinctive ornate cowl shell. All other living cephalopods have either a reduced and internalized shell or none at all. This is because of numerous modifications of the general molluscan body plan. Over time, many cephalopods evolved to lose or reduce their shells, replacing them with other defense mechanisms. This adaptation allowed them to quickly change color, jet propel themselves away from danger, or disappear in cloud of ink. No shell will make them more flexible. Class Bivalvia. Shell. The two valves are symmetrical along the hinge line. When truly symmetrical, it is said to be equivalve. Second, it made of calcium carbonate embedded in an organic matrix secreted by the mantle. Third, the peristalkum, the outermost organic layer, is secreted by the inner surface of the outer mantle fold at the metal margin. Let's talk about locomotion. Locomotion are separated into two, which is swimming and foot. Let's watch the locomotion of bivalves. Foot. The bivalve foot is laterally compressed and pointed for digging, the muscles mainly responsible for movement of the foot. Last but not least, how does bivalve eat? Bivalves lack of radula, so they feed by filtering food particles from the water using their gills.
Luman? What are you doing there?
Oh, hey Pai, you noticed me? Well, I was just passing by and I saw you by coincidence. You look stressed. Do you need any help?
Well, I'm trying to study about phylum Echino, whatever this is, but I can't seem to have a grasp on this subject.
Oh, phylum Echinodermata. Well, actually, I'm used to this. I've been in a marine for such a long time.
Marines? Aren't you still a foundation student?
Anyways, I can teach you about this topic. So, first of all, what is phylum Echinodermata? Basically, phylum Echinodermata is a group of marine animals known for their radial symmetry, multiples of 5, endoskeleton, and regenerative abilities.
Oh, I see. So what basically is an Echinodermata? Is it basically like an echidna? Or is it something else?
No, silly, it's not the same as echidna. Well, Echinodermata consists of 5 classes, which is Asteroidea, Holothuroidea, Crinoidea, Echinoidea, Ophiroidea.
So technically, what are these 5 classes? Are they basically an animal?
Yes, Pai, these are basically animals, and they reproduce by asexual and asexual reproduction. Well, for asexual reproduction, they use falciparity and autonomy, while for sexual, they use spawning.
I see. Well then, can I ask you something? Can you explain to me about the first class, which is the Asteroidea? What?
Absolutely, Pai. I can explain to you about Asteroidea. But first, let us take a breather first.
Okay, why not? I've been studying for like 18 hours here. So let's go.
Let's go!
Oh, we switch places.
Yes, sure we did, Pai. So, you want to know about Asteroideas, right? Well, before we start, do you know anything about it?
Well, if I remember correctly, asteroideas are starfish, right? And I think they live in the habitat of the intertidal zone.
Well, that's absolutely correct, Brian. Well, some of the characteristics of asteroideas are they have 5-star body shapes, flattened, and they also have papillae. And lastly, they have tube feet with suckers.
Oh, I see. Don't they use those tube feet as a movement?
Yes, that's right, Brian. Well, for the diet for asteroideas, they are carnivores and sometimes can be cannibals. And they eat foods such as oyster, for example.
Sometimes cannibals, huh? So that means they eat their own kind. I see. So, how about holothuroideas?
Okay, about Holothuroidea, they live in intertidal zone to the abyssal zone.
Oh, so they reach up to the abyssal zone, huh? So, about their characteristics, do they have tube feet the same as starfish do?
That is correct, Brian. They also use tube feet for movement, and they lack arms.
So, I heard that they are also omnivores, right? So, what do they actually eat?
Yes, Brian. Unlike asteroideas, they are omnivores and they eat microscopic herbs and microscopic animals.
Oh, so that's interesting about holothuroideas. Say, we've finished asteroideas and holothuroideas. So how about we move on to crinoideas? I mean, they're called crinoids, right? So, if I'm not mistaken, the zone that they live in are, if I'm correct, the subtidal fringe zones, right?
Well, that's correct, Brian. And I know some things about crinoids. One of it are that crinoids, they have characteristics of 5 flexible arms and they have cup-shaped bodies.
Oh, I see. Well then, about their diet though, what are they? Like, are they carnivores, omnivores, or herbivores?
Well, actually, Brian, it's neither of them. They actually get nutrients by filtering foods.
Now that's an interesting fact that I get to know about crinoids. Huh. So we can move on to the next one, right? Which is the echinodias, right? Aren't echinodias sea urchins? Oh, I really hate those things. But what habitat do they live in?
Yes, Brian, they are sea urchins. And for your question about habitat, they live in intertidal zone and they have the characteristics of egg-shaped circular body and they have tube feet just like starfish.
Oh, and about the diet of echinodias, if I'm right, they are herbivores and I think carnivores as well. So basically they're omnivores, but I think they mainly eat off vegetables, so I think they are primarily herbivores.
Finally, we have somewhere to sit.
I know, right? It was so tired walking. But anyways, let's continue. And I think this is the last one, right?
Yes, Brian, this is the last one. And it's about Ophiuroideas. And this is also commonly known as brittle stars.
Oh, I see. But if I remember, they also are called serpent stars, which are, I think, very cool. But yeah, one thing I do know about Ophiuroideas is that they live in the same zone as the holothuroideas as well, which are from the intertidal zone to the abyssal zone.
Well, some of the characteristics of Ophiuroideas are they have 5 long, thin arms, dish-shaped bodies, and you want to guess the last one?
Huh. Let me guess. They have tube feet, right?
Yes, but they have tube feet. And one last thing about them is that they are also omnivores and detritivores.
Huh. I've only heard of omnivores, herbivores, and carnivores, but I've never actually heard detritivores before. What is that?
Well, the tetrivores, they basically eat dead carcasses.
Oh, that's interesting. So I'm guessing that's all the 5 classes, huh? Thank you for telling me this.
Yes, fine. So basically, we've covered everything about phylum Echinodermata. So, did you gain anything?
Oh, I actually gained a lot of things from learning from you. So I have to thank you, Shifu Lukman. You actually taught me a lot of things that I didn't know about phylum Echinodermata. So I think I feel many gratitudes.
You're welcome, Pine. Anyways, let's head back to our college. It's getting dark here.
Yeah, you're right, Lukman. I guess we should head back since we finished everything we need to talk about. Let's go back.